Moon Jae-won had built an empire on reading people. 20 years in this world taught him to spot lies, desperation, ambition. The women who frequented his clubs wore their intentions like perfume, heavy, obvious, cloying. They smiled with calculation, touched with purpose, laughed with agenda. So when Aurelia Hayes walked into his private office at Eclipse, portfolio tucked under one arm and her 6-year-old son's hand in the other, he noticed immediately that she didn't smile at all. "Mr. Moon." Her voice was professional, cautious. "I'm the illustrator your manager hired. I can come back if this is a bad time." She was already turning to leave, protecting her son from whatever instinct told her this room held danger. Smart woman. "Stay." The word came out rougher than intended. She froze, deep bronze skin glowing under his office lights, natural curls pulled back in a practical ponytail. Her eyes, warm, brown, and guarded, met his directly. No flirtation, no calculation, just wariness. He should have let her leave. Instead, he found himself wanting something he hadn't wanted in years. Her smile. 3 days earlier, Aurelia Hayes balanced her laptop on her kitchen counter, while Micah ate cereal at the table, swinging his legs and humming. The freelance illustration gig had come through Corinne Alexander, her former art professor and mentor, who somehow always knew when Aurelia's bank account was getting dangerously low. "It's just preliminary concept art for a nightclub renovation," Corinne had explained over the phone. "The owner wants something elegant, modern, with subtle Asian influences. Your style would be perfect." Aurelia had taken the job without hesitation. Rent was due in 2 weeks, Micah needed new shoes, and her pride couldn't handle asking her mother for money again. "Mommy, can I have more milk?" Micah's voice pulled her back to the present. Magic word. "Please." He grinned, gap-toothed and perfect. She poured the milk, kissed the top of his head, and returned to her designs. The club, Eclipse, wanted sophistication without pretension, luxury without ostentation. She'd spent 2 days sketching concepts, flowing lines that suggested movement, subtle incorporation of Korean artistic motifs, color palettes that shifted from deep blues to warm golds. Her phone buzzed. Corinne again. "They want to meet you in person. Today, if possible. The owner is very particular." Aurelia glanced at Micah. "I don't have childcare until tomorrow. Bring him. I've worked with this client before. He's professional." "And Aurelia." Corinne paused. "This could lead to more work. Serious money. Don't let pride make you refuse." 2 hours later, Aurelia stood outside Eclipse in downtown Seattle, holding Micah's hand. The building was sleek, modern, with subtle lighting that promised exclusivity. Even closed during the day, it radiated wealth. "This place is fancy," Micah whispered. "Remember our deal? You sit quietly, draw in your notebook, and afterwards we get ice cream." "Double scoop?" "Don't push it." A manager, young, efficient, intimidatingly polished, met them at the entrance. "Ms. Hayes, Mr. Moon is waiting upstairs. Follow me." The interior took Aurelia's breath away. The space was stunning. High ceilings, intelligent lighting, a central bar that looked like liquid silver. Her designs would complement this beautifully. But as they climbed the stairs to the private office, something felt off. The manager's posture was too careful, the security cameras were excessive, and the man stationed outside the office door wore his suit like armor, eyes tracking them with professional assessment. The door opened, and Aurelia's first thought was that the man behind the desk didn't match his surroundings. Moon Jae-won should have looked out of place in the modern luxury office. Instead, he commanded it. He was younger than she expected, mid-30s maybe, with sharp features and dark eyes that seemed to catalogue every detail. His black hair was styled with careless precision, and his white shirt had the first 4 buttons undone, revealing a muscled chest and a small, elegant tattoo of Korean script on the side of his neck. He was looking at his phone when they entered, and didn't glance up immediately. "Mr. Moon?" Aurelia kept her voice professional. "I'm the illustrator your manager hired. I can come back if this is a bad time." Those dark eyes lifted, and the intensity in them made her take an involuntary step back, hand tightening on Micah's. "Stay." His voice was deep, controlled, with the barest hint of an accent. Something in his tone made her instinct scream to leave, but Corinne's words echoed. Serious money, Micah's shoes, rent. "This is my son, Micah. I hope that's not a problem. He'll be quiet." For the first time, Jaewon's expression shifted, something almost like approval flickering across his features. It's not a problem. There's a sitting area by the window, he can draw there. Micah, bless him, was already pulling out his colored pencils, completely unaware of the tension crackling through the room. Aurelia set up her portfolio on the conference table, aware of Jaewon's gaze tracking her movements. Most clients browsed social media or took calls during presentations. He gave her his complete attention, and it was unnerving. I've prepared 3 concept directions, she began, spreading the illustrations across the table. The first emphasizes fluidity and movement. You'll notice the lines suggest water, which ties to your club's name. The second incorporates traditional Korean artistic elements but modernized. The third is more minimalist, focused on negative space and shadow. She talked through each design, explaining her choices, the color theory, the psychological impact. He listened without interrupting, occasionally leaning closer to examine details. "You're self-taught?" he asked when she finished. "I have a degree in fine arts, but most of my commercial technique is self-taught. Yes, how did you—" "Your style," he gestured to the second design. "Formal training is visible here in the composition, but your line work, that's instinctive, untamed." It was the most perceptive critique anyone had ever given her work. "The second one," he decided, "but I want you to expand it, not just for the main room, for the entire club. VIP areas, private rooms, the exterior signage, everything." Aurelia's mind raced, calculating timeline and payment. "That's significantly more work than the initial project scope. I'll pay significantly more." He named a figure that made her briefly forget how to breathe. "That's very generous. It's what the work is worth." He pulled out a business card, wrote something on the back. "This is my private number. Send me your contract terms tonight. I want to start immediately." She took the card carefully as if it might burn her. "I'll need to work from home most days. I have childcare limitations." "That's fine. You'll need to come here for measurements and consultations, but remote work is acceptable." His gaze shifted past her to where Micah was drawing. "What's he making?" Aurelia turned. Micah had drawn what appeared to be a dragon made entirely of stars. Space dragons are his current obsession. "May I see it?" Before she could answer, Micah hopped up and brought the drawing over, completely fearless. "It's Cosmos. He protects astronauts." Jaewon studied the drawing with the same intensity he'd given her professional work. "The proportions are good. You have your mother's eye for detail." Micah beamed, and Aurelia felt something uncomfortable twist in her chest. This man, this stranger who wore danger-like cologne, was being genuinely kind to her son. "We should go," she said abruptly. "I'll send those terms tonight." "Miss Hayes." He stood, and she realized he was tall, 6 feet easily, with a presence that filled the room. "I have a question." She waited, wary. "Are you afraid of me?" The directness shocked her into honesty. "I don't know you well enough to be afraid, but my instincts are telling me you're not just a nightclub owner." Something flickered in his eyes, respect maybe, or surprise. "Your instincts are excellent, but you and your son are safe here, you have my word. Why would we need your word on our safety if you're just a businessman?" He smiled then, and it transformed his face from intimidating to devastating. "You're very direct. I have a son to protect. I can't afford not to be." "Then let me be direct too." He moved closer, but stopped at a respectful distance. "I am not just a nightclub owner. My business involves heart complications, but I keep those complications away from innocent people. You will work here, create your art, and nothing in my world will touch you or your son. That's not a promise, it's a guarantee." She should have walked away. Every rational cell in her brain screamed to refuse the job, take Micah, and never look back. Instead, she heard herself say, "I'll send the contract tonight." As they left, she didn't see the way Jaewon watched her go, his expression thoughtful. Or the way So Hyun-seok, his head of security, stepped into the office and quietly said, "Boss, Wei Chen's people were spotted 3 blocks from here yesterday. He's making moves." "Handle it," Jaewon replied, still looking at the space where Aurelia had stood. "And Hyun-seok? Make sure Miss Hayes and her son have security whenever they're traveling to or from Eclipse. Discreet. She doesn't need to know. You're that interested in the artist?" Jaewon picked up the small sketch Micah had left behind. the space dragon. Just make sure they're safe. Aurelia spent the next week working 16-hour days, dividing time between digital illustrations at home and on-site consultations at Eclipse. True to his word, Jae-won kept their interactions professional. But there was something in the way he looked at her work. Genuine appreciation that had nothing to do with attraction and everything to do with respect for her talent. "This is extraordinary," Yu Hua-young, his cousin and business consultant, said during one presentation. The elegant Korean woman studied Aurelia's designs with a critical eye. "You've captured something essential. My cousin has excellent taste." "Speaking of your cousin," Aurelia ventured carefully, "he mentioned complications in his business. Should I be concerned about taking this job?" Hua-young's expression shifted, assessing, deciding how much to reveal. "Jae-won operates in grey areas, but he has rules. One of them is that civilians stay protected. If he's given you his word, you can trust it absolutely." It wasn't exactly reassuring, but it was honest. Aurelia was working late at Eclipse. Micah was with Felicia for a sleepover, when Jae-won appeared in the main room where she was taking measurements. "You're here late," he observed. "Deadlines wait for no one." She didn't look up from her tablet, marking dimensions for a wall mural concept. "Have you eaten?" That made her pause. "I'm sorry? It's past 9. Have you eaten dinner?" "I had coffee around 6. He made a disapproving sound. "Coffee isn't dinner. Come upstairs." "Mr. Moon?" "Jae-won. And it's not a request. You can't work effectively if you're malnourished." His private office had been transformed. A small table held Korean takeout, several dishes, still steaming. The setup was too elaborate to be spontaneous. "You were planning this," she accused. "Hyun-sok mentioned you've been skipping meals. I can't have my artist collapsing from low blood sugar." He gestured to a chair. "Sit." The food was incredible. Bulgogi, kimchi, japchae, steamed rice. Aurelia tried to eat slowly, maintain dignity, but she was starving. "When did you start drawing?" he asked, pouring tea. "I was 7. My dad left, my mom worked double shifts. Drawing kept me quiet and out of trouble." "Your father?" "Hasn't been in the picture since I was 8. She met his gaze directly. "Micah's father, either. Apparently I have terrible taste in men. Or you're strong enough not to need them." The compliment, simple and sincere, disarmed her completely. "What about you?" she asked. "When did you get into the nightclub business?" His smile was sardonic. "I inherited my position when I was 26. My uncle trained me, then died suddenly. I've been managing the family business ever since." Family business. The way he said it confirmed everything she'd suspected. "Organized crime," she stated flatly. "Grey areas," he corrected. "We operate entertainment venues, provide security services, facilitate certain business transactions." "And the complications you mentioned? Territorial disputes? Rival organizations who think Seattle has room for expansion?" His expression darkened. "One rival in particular has been making aggressive moves lately. Should I be worried?" "No. I keep my business away from innocents." "You're safe." "You keep saying that, but you also keep hiring me for projects that require me to be here in your space, surrounded by your world." He set down his teacup carefully. "Would you like the truth?" "Always. I could hire any designer in Seattle, many who'd charge less than you." His dark eyes held hers. "But when you walked into my office, you didn't smile at me. Every other woman who enters this building smiles. Calculated, purposeful smiles designed to get my attention. You looked at me like I was a potential threat to your son. I found that refreshing." "So you hired me because I didn't flirt with you?" "I hired you because your work is exceptional. I keep finding excuses for consultations because I'm curious about the woman who sees through pretense and says exactly what she thinks." Aurelia's heart was doing complicated things in her chest. "I'm not here for complications, Jae-won. I have a son, a career I'm building, and no space for drama." "I know." He stood, creating distance. "Which is why I'll keep this professional. But I wanted you to know you fascinate me, not as a conquest, as a person." She should have left it there. Instead, she heard herself ask, "Do I ever smile?" "Once. When Micah showed me his space dragon, your whole face transformed. I've been waiting to see it again." The admission hung between them, vulnerable and dangerous. Aurelia gathered her things quickly. "I should go." "Thank you for dinner. Let Hyun-seok drive you home, it's late. I can take an Uber." "Aurelia." The way he said her name stopped her cold. "Let me do this small thing, please." She agreed, mostly because arguing seemed more intimate than accepting. In the car, So Hyun-suk drove in professional silence until they were halfway to her apartment. Then he spoke quietly. "He's a good man, better than this world deserves. You're loyal to him. He saved my life when I was 17. I'd die for him." Hyun-suk glanced at her in the rearview mirror. "But I've never seen him look at anyone the way he looks at you. Whatever this is, it matters to him. That makes it matter to me. I'm not sure that's reassuring. It should be. When something matters to Jae-won, he protects it with everything he has. You and your son? You're already protected, whether you accept his interest or not." Later, lying in bed, Aurelia couldn't stop thinking about the way Jae-won had said her name. The respect in his voice when he'd called her work extraordinary, the gentleness he'd shown Micah. She was in trouble, the kind of trouble that didn't end well. But when she finally fell asleep, she dreamed of dark eyes and careful smiles, and for the first time in years she wasn't afraid. The shift happened gradually, then all at once. Aurelia spent more time at Eclipse, and Jae-won found reasons to be wherever she was working. Their conversations deepened. She learned about his childhood in Seoul, his immigration at 15, the weight of inheriting an organization he'd never asked to lead. He learned about her struggles with single motherhood, her determination to build something stable for Micah, her secret dream of having her own gallery someday. "You should," he said one afternoon while she painted a mural in the VIP lounge. "Open a gallery. Your work deserves recognition." "Galleries require capital I don't have. I could invest—" "No." She turned to face him, paintbrush still in hand. "I appreciate the offer, but I need to build this myself. No shortcuts, no wealthy benefactors, just me and my work." He smiled, a real smile, not the careful one he showed the world. "You're stubborn." "I'm independent. There's a difference." "There is. And it's one of the things I admire most about you." The moment stretched, charged with something neither acknowledged. It was Micah who broke the careful distance they'd maintained. Aurelia had brought him to Eclipse on a Saturday. Felicia had a work emergency and Corinne was out of town. She'd planned to work quickly while Micah drew in Jae-won's office, which had become his favorite spot. But when she went to check on him, she found Jae-won sitting cross-legged on the floor, helping Micah build an elaborate Lego spaceship. "The stabilizers need to be symmetrical," Jae-won was explaining patiently. "Otherwise, the ship won't be balanced." "Like this?" Micah adjusted pieces carefully. "Perfect. You're a natural engineer." Aurelia leaned against the doorframe, watching. Jae-won looked completely different like this, relaxed, almost boyish, thoroughly engaged with a 6-year-old's imagination. "Mommy!" Micah spotted her. "Mr. Moon knows everything about spaceships." "Does he now?" Jae-won glanced up, and the expression on his face when he saw her, unguarded, genuinely happy, stole her breath. "I had a very thorough space phase as a child," he admitted. "He's cool," Micah declared with 6-year-old certainty. "Can he come to my birthday party?" Aurelia's heart stopped. "Micah, Mr. Moon is very busy." "When's your birthday?" Jae-won asked. 2 weeks. I'm turning 7. We're having cake and Mommy's making her special mac and cheese, and we're watching space movies." "Sounds perfect. I'd be honored to attend." "Really?" Micah's face lit up like Christmas morning. "Really?" Jae-won's eyes found Aurelia's. "If your mother approves." She should say no, should maintain boundaries, should protect her son from getting attached to a man whose world was built on danger. But Micah was beaming and Jae-won was looking at her with such careful hope, and she was so tired of being alone. "One condition," she said. "No expensive gifts, just show up as yourself." Something shifted in Jae-won's expression, gratitude mixed with something deeper. "Deal." The night of Micah's party, Jae-won arrived exactly on time, wearing jeans and a simple black sweater, the most casual she'd ever seen him. He brought one modestly wrapped gift and a genuine smile. "Hyun-suk is parked outside," he mentioned quietly while Micah tore into presents. "Just precautionary. There's been increased activity from Wei Chen lately. Should I be worried? I won't let anything touch you, either of you." The party was small. Micah, 2 friends from school, Felicia and her daughter, and Malik Jefferson, Aurelia's musician friend who'd known her since art school. Malik raised an eyebrow at Jaewon's presence, but said nothing, though his protective glance at Aurelia spoke volumes. Jaewon fit in seamlessly. He played with the kids, helped set up the movie, and washed dishes without being asked. When Micah fell asleep on the couch after too much cake and excitement, Jaewon carefully carried him to bed. "You're good with him," Aurelia said when he returned. "He's easy to be good with, he's remarkable. He needs stability, consistency, not a criminal," Jaewon finished gently. "I know what I am, Aurelia. I've never pretended otherwise. Then why are we doing this, whatever this is?" He moved closer, and she didn't step back. "Because I look at you and see possibility, a version of myself that isn't defined by the organization. You make me want to be better. That's not fair. I can't be responsible for redeeming you. I'm not asking you to. I'm just saying that when you smile, really smile, it's the best part of my day, and I'd like permission to try to earn that smile more often." She should have said no. Instead, she closed the distance between them, rising on her toes, and kissed him. It was brief, tentative, and absolutely terrifying. When she pulled back, his eyes were closed, expression almost pained. "Aurelia, don't think. Just for tonight, don't analyze or plan or worry. Just be here." He kissed her then, properly, his hand cupping her face with devastating gentleness. It was nothing like she'd expected. No aggression, no demand. Just presence and heat, and a tenderness that made her chest ache. They broke apart slowly, breathing hard. "I should go," he said, voice rough. "Why?" "Because if I stay, I'll want more, and you deserve someone who can offer you a normal life." "What if I don't want normal? What if I just want honest?" He pressed his forehead against hers. "Then you should know, I'm falling for you, completely, and I have no idea how to protect you from what that means." Before she could respond, his phone buzzed. He checked it, expression darkening. "I have to go. Problem at the docks. Be careful." "Always am." He kissed her once more, quick and sweet. "Lock the door behind me. Hyunsuk will stay outside until morning." After he left, Aurelia touched her lips, wondering what she'd just started. She found out 3 days later when Jaewon called at 2 a.m., voice tight with controlled panic. "Don't go to Eclipse tomorrow. Stay home. Don't answer the door for anyone except me or Hyun-seok." What happened? Wei Chen made his move. "He hit one of my warehouses. He's escalating." "Jaewon, I'll explain everything. Just promise me you'll stay safe," she promised, heart racing. But Wei Chen wasn't interested in warehouses. He was interested in leverage, and he'd just learned about Aurelia Hayes. The explosion happened at 3:47 a.m. Aurelia woke to car alarms and sirens, stumbled to her window, and saw flames engulfing the coffee shop 3 buildings down. Not her building, but close, too close. Her phone rang immediately. "Jaewon, are you hurt?" His voice was razor-sharp with fear. "We're fine. What?" "Pack a bag. You and Micah. Hyun-seok is 2 minutes away. You're coming to my home. I can't just—" "Aurelia." The raw emotion in his voice stopped her. "Please. Wei Chen is targeting anyone connected to me. He knows about you. I can't protect you from your apartment." She packed in 5 minutes, woke a confused Micah, and was in Hyun-seok's car before her hands stopped shaking. Jaewon's home was a penthouse in downtown Seattle, modern, secure, beautiful. He met them at the private elevator, taking in their faces with visible relief. "I'm sorry," he said immediately. "I never should have let you get close. This is my fault." "What exactly is this?" He led them inside, poured her tea she didn't drink. "Wei Chen runs a Chinese syndicate. He's been trying to take over Seattle's underground for 2 years. I've blocked every move. Now he's hitting my businesses, my people. The explosion tonight, it was a message." "What kind of message?" "That he knows about you. That he'll hurt what I care about if I don't back down." Aurelia felt cold. "This is what your world looks like. This is what I'd be bringing Micah into." "No." Jaewon's intensity burned through her fear. "This is what I'll end. I've been managing Chen with diplomacy, trying to avoid war. That ends now. I'm going to eliminate the threat completely." "You mean—" "I mean, I'll push him out of Seattle, force him to retreat, whatever it takes." He reached for her hand, stopped himself. "I need you to trust me. Stay here where you're protected. Let me handle this. And if you can't, then I'll disappear. Take you and Micah somewhere Wei Chen can't reach. New identities, new life. Whatever keeps you safe. You'd give up your organization?" For you? Yes, absolutely. The declaration should have been romantic. Instead, it terrified her. I can't ask you to do that. You're not asking, I'm offering. Micah emerged from the guest room where Hyun-seok had settled him, rubbing sleepy eyes. Mommy, why are we here? Aurelia pulled him close. Just a sleepover, baby. Everything's fine. But everything wasn't fine. Over the next week, Jae-won waged silent war against Wei Chen. Aurelia only saw pieces, tense phone calls, Hyun-seok reporting in code, Yu Hua-young arriving with legal documents and grim expressions. She and Micah stayed in the penthouse protected by rotating security. Malik called twice, Felicia 6 times. Corinne once, saying carefully, "Whatever you're caught up in, I'm here if you need me." Julian Cortez, Jae-won's lawyer, visited to explain precautions. Mr. Moon wants you to have documentation. If anything happens to him, you and your son have financial protection. A trust, property, safety measures. He's planning for if he dies, Aurelia realized. Cortez's expression was sympathetic. He's planning for every contingency. That's how he stayed alive this long. The night everything changed, Jae-won came home at midnight, exhausted and defeated. Chen won't back down, he admitted, collapsing on the couch. Every move I make, he counters. He's got more resources than I thought, more connections. Aurelia sat beside him, took his hand. Tell me the truth. What are our options? Fight until one of us destroys the other, or run. You'd really leave? This city, your organization, everything you've built? He turned to face her, and the vulnerability in his eyes undid her. I've built an empire of shadows. You're the first real thing I've had in years. Yes, I'd leave, for you, for Micah, for the chance at something honest. She kissed him then, desperate, fierce, pouring everything she couldn't say into the contact. He responded with equal intensity, hands tangling in her hair, pulling her closer. They broke apart, breathing hard. I love you, he said simply. I know it's fast, I know it's complicated, but I love you, and I need you to know that before... Before what? His phone rang. Hyun-seok's name flashed on the screen. Boss, Chen's here. Building lobby. He wants to talk. Jae-won's expression went cold and deadly. How many men? 3 visible, probably more in vehicles. Let him up, but call in our team. Surround the building. Jae-won, Aurelia started. Go to the safe room with Micah, now. Hyun-seok will take you. I'm not leaving you alone with... Aurelia, please. He cupped her face. Let me protect you. That's all I've wanted since the moment you walked into my office. She wanted to argue. Instead, she whispered, Don't die, that's not romantic, it's just stupid. He smiled. That rare, genuine smile. Yes, ma'am. Hyun-seok hustled her and a sleepy Micah into a reinforced room deep in the penthouse. Through a monitor, she watched Wei Chen step off the elevator. Older, coldly handsome, radiating calculated menace. Moon Jae-won. Chen's English was flawless. We need to discuss terms. There are no terms. Leave Seattle or I'll destroy you. Bold words for a man who's lost 3 shipments this week. Chen smiled. Let's be realistic. You're powerful here, but I have resources you can't match. This war will bleed us both dry. Or... He glanced around the penthouse meaningfully. You could make a smarter choice. And what choice is that? Partnership. We divide Seattle. You keep entertainment. I take imports. Everyone profits. Not interested. Even if the alternative is losing everything? Chen's smile sharpened. Including your artist and her son. Jae-won went very still. If you touch them, I won't need to. You'll push me until I'm forced to respond. Then their blood is on your hands, not mine. Chen moved closer. But if you accept partnership, they live. You live. Business continues. Simple choice. Really. Through the monitor, Aurelia saw Jae-won's expression, the terrible calculation of a man weighing his pride against lives he loved. I need time, he finally said. You have 24 hours. After that, I stop being diplomatic. Chen left, and Aurelia watched Jae-won stand alone in his living room, shoulders bowed under impossible weight. She couldn't let him sacrifice everything for her, but she had no idea how to stop what was coming. The next morning, Aurelia made a decision that would either save them or destroy everything. I need to talk to Wei Chen, she told Jae-won. Absolutely not. Hear me out, no. You're not going anywhere near him. Jae-won. She made him look at her. He's using me as leverage because he thinks I'm your weakness. What if I'm not? What if I'm your solution? What are you talking about? Chen wants legitimacy. He's trying to expand operations, right? What does he need for that? Yu Hua-young, who'd arrived an hour earlier, caught on immediately. Public image. Clean fronts. Cultural integration. Exactly. Aurelia's mind raced. I'm a struggling artist with a child. Perfect sympathetic story. What if I'm the legitimate business front he's been looking for? Art gallery, cultural center, something that looks clean while hiding what he really wants. You'd be his hostage, Jae-won said flatly, or I'd be his partner, with conditions. She looked at Hua-young. Could we write a contract? Partnership where I maintain creative control, fixed term, exit clauses. Theoretically, Hua-young said slowly. But why would Chen agree? Because I bring him something valuable, plausible deniability and social credibility, and because the alternative is war with Jae-won, which Chen can't win. He absolutely can win, Jae-won interjected. No, he can't. You're too smart, too connected here. He'll lose eventually. This way, everyone wins. Jae-won was shaking his head. I won't let you put yourself in danger. It's not your choice. It's mine, she softened. You said you'd do anything to protect me. Let me protect you too. Let me protect what we're building. 6 hours later, Aurelia sat across from Wei Chen in a neutral location, Julian Cortez's law office, with Hyun Seok and 2 of Chen's security standing guard. Ms. Hayes, Chen studied her with interest. You requested this meeting. I have a proposition. You want expansion in Seattle without constant conflict with Moon Jae-won. I need funding for a legitimate business. We help each other. She laid out the plan, art gallery and cultural center, with Chen as silent investor, fixed-term partnership with clear boundaries. She'd provide legitimate front. He'd provide capital and connections. Interesting. Chen leaned back. But why would I trust you? You're obviously involved with Moon. I'm involved with my son's future. Right now, that future is endangered by your conflict with Jae-won. This solves that problem. She met his gaze steadily. You get what you want. Legitimate presence in Seattle's arts community, social credibility, clean business front. I get what I want. Security for my son and the career I'm building. Jae-won gets what he wants. Me and Micah safe, his territory protected. And if I simply take what I want, force Moon to give ground? You'd win eventually, maybe, but the cost would be enormous, and you'd still need legitimate fronts. This is smarter. Chen was quiet for a long moment. Then he smiled, and Aurelia saw why he'd risen to power, pure, calculated intelligence. You're quite remarkable, Ms. Hayes. I see why Moon is fascinated. Very well. 3-year partnership with exit clauses favoring you after year 2. I provide capital and connections. You provide the business and public face. Moon stays in his territory, I stay in mine. Clean boundaries. One more condition, Aurelia added. My son and I remain completely separate from anything illegal. If your activities ever touch us, the partnership ends immediately. Agreed, Julian, draw up the contracts. When Aurelia returned to Jae-won's penthouse, he was pacing like a caged animal. He pulled her into his arms the moment she entered, holding her so tightly she could barely breathe. Never do that again, he said into her hair. It worked. Chen agreed. 3-year partnership, clean terms, boundaries respected. He pulled back to search her face. You traded yourself for peace. I traded nothing. I got exactly what I wanted. A gallery, funding, security, and I ended a war that would have destroyed you. She touched his face gently. This is me choosing you. Both of us, building something together. That's not sacrifice. That's partnership. Aurelia, I love you too, she interrupted. I've been too scared to say it, but I do. I love that you're gentle with my son, that you respect my work, that you'd give up everything for us. I love that you make me feel safe and challenged and seen. So yes, I negotiated with a crime lord to protect the man I love. And I'd do it again. He kissed her then, deep and desperate and full of promise. I'll make this work, he swore against her lips. Chen will honor the agreement or I'll destroy him. The gallery will succeed. You and Micah will have the life you deserve. We'll have the life we build, together. Micah wandered out, rubbing his eyes. Are we done with the sleepover? I miss my room. They both laughed, tension breaking. Jae-won scooped Micah up. Ready to go home, little astronaut? Yeah, but can you come visit? I want to show you my new space station. Any time, Jae-won promised, meeting Aurelia's eyes over Micah's head. Any time at all. 18 months later. The Hayes Moon Gallery opened on a perfect Seattle morning, crisp air, clear skies, and a line of people waiting to enter. Aurelia stood in the center of her dream, watching visitors admire the work of emerging artists she'd carefully curated. The Times Review is excellent, Yu Hua-young announced, phone in hand. They're calling it the most exciting new cultural space in the Pacific Northwest. Did they mention the investors? Aurelia asked carefully. Barely. You're the story. Single mother builds inclusive art platform, provides opportunities for marginalized artists. It's perfect. Wei Chen had kept his word. His involvement remained invisible, his investment untraceable to anything illegal. And, as promised, after 2 years, Aurelia had bought him out completely. The gallery was entirely hers now. Well, almost entirely. Your silent partner would like a word, Felicia said with a knowing smile, gesturing to the office. Jae-won was studying the wall where Aurelia had hung the first illustration she'd ever created for Eclipse, the one that started everything. Remember when you brought Micah to my office? He asked when she entered. You mean when I was terrified you were a dangerous criminal? I was a dangerous criminal. I'm reformed now. Running 3 legitimate nightclubs and investing in art galleries. Very reformed. He turned, and the love in his eyes still stole her breath. I never answered your question. What question? In Eclipse that first week. You asked if I ever smiled. I've been smiling for 18 months straight because of you. She moved into his arms, perfect fit after months of practice. Micah wants to know if you're coming to dinner. Apparently you promised to help build the Millennium Falcon. 8,000 pieces of Lego, I'm committed. He kissed her temple. How's our other project coming? Aurelia pressed his hand to her still flat stomach. 8 weeks, still early but strong heartbeat. His expression transformed, joy and wonder and fierce protectiveness. A baby. We're having a baby. We are. Micah's thrilled to be a big brother, though he insists the baby has to like space. Obviously mandatory. Jae-won knelt, pressed a kiss to her stomach. Hello, little one. Your mother is extraordinary, your brother is remarkable, and I promise to be worthy of being your father. You already are, Aurelia said softly. He stood, pulled her close. You know what the best part of my day is? Building Lego. Your smile. Every single day you smile at me like I'm not a former crime boss, like I'm not complicated and dangerous and reformed criminal. You smile at me like I'm just yours. You are mine. Reformed, complicated, perfect for us. She kissed him slowly. Now come on. We have a gallery opening, then dinner with an 8-year-old who will absolutely dominate conversation with space facts. Wouldn't miss it. As they returned to the gallery floor, Aurelia caught her reflection in the glass doors, radiant, successful, in love, building the life she'd always wanted. Micah ran up, grabbing Jae-won's hand to show him something, and the 3 of them stood there together, perfect in their imperfection. Every woman had tried to get Moon Jae-won's attention with calculated smiles and purposeful charm. But Aurelia Hayes had captured his heart simply by being herself, strong, stubborn, brilliant, and brave enough to love a dangerous man who'd become good for her. And that made all the difference. This story teaches us that true love isn't about perfection. It's about seeing someone's complete truth and choosing them anyway. Aurelia didn't fall for Jae-won despite his dangerous past. She fell for the man beneath the armor, the one who was gentle with her son and respected her independence. Jae-won didn't want Aurelia because she flirted or flattered. He loved her because she challenged him to be better while accepting who he was. More importantly, the story shows that strength comes in many forms. Aurelia's courage wasn't in changing Jae-won or being rescued by him. It was in building her own solutions, protecting what